As you guys know, I grant interviews on my where I interview immigrants, who live overseas, especially because we have different experiences. And in the video which I'm going to be posting later today, I interviewed this Nigerian guy who has only been 2 years in America and he's had not so great experiences. However, one of the reasons he gave for not wanting to be with a Nigerian woman, and he has never dated a Nigerian woman, even while he was living in Nigeria, was according to him, Nigerian women are materialistic. And this is a conversation that has gone on for too long. And for me, as somebody who was born and bred in Nigeria, let me explain that point, especially because I grew up in the midst of boys, brothers. I had only brothers. So I could see their lives and how they moved. Now, first of all, I have this sibling that of all of us, he's the one who has always liked the good things of life. And if you follow me on YouTube, I said in the live I went earlier today that my parents who were separated had different lifestyles. I had a father who was living in a 5 bedroom and the mom who was living in a 1 room. So our growing up was like we were tasting both worlds, if that made any sense. But for the most part of it, well, with our mom, as it is in Nigeria now. But then my father actually had a major role, but we also lived with our mom most of the time. In that 1 room, my brother, who happened to be the favorite, would always get a different kind of treatment. And as such, even when he went to school, I remember one time some of the students were, this was something that a comment one of his friends made, somebody he brought home. The friend said, "We thought you were the president's son." That was how much luxury he paraded. And that's because that is the kind of lifestyle he likes. He likes that. He's that kind of person that can take 2 naira and make it look like $1 million. So even now that we are adults and all, he always has that appearance of flamboyancy. That's just him. There are people that are just like that. You can't take it away from them. Now, fast forward to his dating life. When he was in university, now don't forget, we had a mother who was living in 1 room, a mother who never had a car. But he had a car. He was even living in an apartment. All this money, I will not even say how it came about them, but they were from my parents. You know the way it is, Nigerian parents can drink Gary to give you money and stuff like that. So that's another something on the side. However, we were talking recently. Now he's with a foreigner, and he was talking about how we can never be in a relationship where it's 100-0 anymore. And in my mind, I was thinking, when did you ever have a relationship that was 100-0? Because to the best of my knowledge, even your friends, they don't know you. Which brings me back to to our Nigerian point. Because yesterday I was watching Pop the Balloon, and most of the men, when you ask them, what do you bring to the table? Money, money, money. And I remember pausing to tell my husband that, why is it that Nigerian men feel that the thing they can bring into a relationship is money? Now, don't forget that nobody is saying that you're not going to bring that money, because money is part of it. But that's like something they put in front, which is why many of us or many of our men, the moment they provide, it's like that is all they have to offer. And when we talk about the poverty rate, we talk about everything. And like I said to the guy on my channel, and the interview is going to be on my channel this evening for those of you who are curious, who would like to see it. I told him the poverty in Nigeria is not designed for women alone. So if you're saying, oh, Nigerian women don't have that depending on men, these men don't even have to be dependent on, let's be honest, all of us, we don't have. Do you understand? The 63% that was recently released as the poverty rate in Nigeria affects men and women. It's not only women, it's men too included. So the point I'm trying to make is, when we begin to compare ourselves or begin to say, oh, Nigerian men like money, this one that I'm with, she doesn't ask me for money, she gives me money. Now, let's also talk about the conditioning. There's this conditioning with Africans where, because we already know, we subconsciously place foreigners above us, it's easier for you to be naked. It's easier for you to say, oh, I don't have. It's easier for you to come up with a sober story, which is also why we have scams. Let's not forget that, because everybody already thinks, oh, if you're from Africa, you're poor. So it's easy for you to have a relationship with a white person, and the white person also knows that, I mean, if you got your spouse from Africa, really, you know very well that You know what I'm trying to say? It's easy for you to open up to them. I just think it's a subconscious thing that you're not even aware of. So if you're moving with a Nigerian person and because of your own low self-esteem, you feel the need to push money ahead of you, that is on you. That is not Nigerian women. That is on you. Because me, as a Nigerian woman, one thing I am certain is I have never asked anybody for a recharge card. I have never said, oh, I don't have a recharge card. I've never said, oh, my mother is sick, give me money. You know? And I remember one time my mother was telling me that it's so sad that I'm 27 and I don't have a man taking care of me because I was never that kind of person. And the friends I have around me, only one person I knew was like, suck men dry. Many of them were independent women. So when people say, oh, Nigerian women, Nigerian women, Nigerian women, and they start comparing them to foreign women, I'm like, no. The thing is, because of our society, because of the way we do not respect people who do not have in our society, everybody pretends to have. So when you're meeting a woman, you're not even meeting her with that, this is me, take me as I am. You're parading, you're dangling money because subconsciously that is all you are worth. And if you look at it culturally, many men do not feel the need to bring anything to the table aside that money, which is like the bedrock of our problems. And I had to narrate this story close to home simply because as somebody who grew up in the midst of boys, I have seen this pattern play itself out. And I've come to realize that no, there is nobody saying my money is my money, your money is my money. Even if a Nigerian woman is telling you that her money is the family's money and your money is her money, it's because that is the way the relationship started. And for the most part, most women in Nigeria who are also bringing money are also doing all the house chores. And so if a woman is bringing money, doing all the house chores, doing all the school runs, doing all the children's activities, and in a country where there is no alimony, in a country where there is no child support, her money has to be her money. Don't you see how there is one alarm in her brain that keeps ringing to protect herself simply because if everything goes down the hill, this person is literally going to be stranded. And that's the story of many Nigerian women. So, and then when you're with a foreign woman who is overseas and you're doing 50-50, she's providing, she's even, getting loans, getting you money and all of that. I mean, you and I know that if that relationship ends, that woman is still going to get a chunk of that money. So at the end of the day, nothing goes for nothing, you know? So I just wanted to say, make this video because one of the education I have had from living overseas and traveling is that I've been able to educate myself that, hey, there is nothing wrong with my people. There is nothing wrong with Nigerians. We are just human beings at the end of the day. And for those of you who've been following this Mayowa and whatever drama, I was telling my husband the other day, anybody who watches this video now would say, Nigerian women. But on that stage, the people who were consoling him, his best friend, is also Nigerian. So you'll see that because we've been programmed to subconsciously hate ourselves, it's easy for one thing to happen to you and then you make it Nigerian. I mean, if you're from Nigeria and you're dating Nigeria, who will break your heart? Is it not a Nigerian person? Let's make it make sense. It's a Nigerian person. You get. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Yeah. All right. Bye bye. Take care. And drop your comments in the comment section.